What up, yo? Welcome back to another long overdue episode of the Back to the Game Sportscast. As always, I'm your host, your boy, Samuel Maria. It's been a minute, but let's get into it. All right, y'all, welcome back to another episode of the Back to the Game Sportscast. I'm your host, Samuel Maria. I know it's been a minute. Then again, I know not many people are watching, and that's all good too. Despite all of that, we're in it now, baby. Football is in full swing. 1/4 of the season is out of the way, and my Patriots are back. We're going to get into that. The WNBA season ended with crowning the Las Vegas Aces. I'm going to get a little bit into that, believe it or not. I'm going to talk about, of course, the NBA season getting started. I'll talk a little bit about my Celtics as well as some of the things and headlines that I'm looking forward to this year. And I'm also going to talk some baseball. I'm going to talk a little bit of baseball. So I'm going to try to tackle a few things that's been kind of culminating over the last few months in sports. And I'm going to try to address them as quickly as I can here to kind of get the ball rolling again on the Back to the Game Sportscast. And here we go. So first, got to talk football, right? We're now past week 5. Teams are really starting to come into their identity. We're really starting to see who's who and what's what. Last night, the Chiefs beat the Detroit Lions, kind of reestablishing themselves like, yeah, we're not necessarily where we want to be, but don't forget, we're the Chiefs. As a Patriots dynasty onlooker, super fan, I know what that's like. There were seasons where people wanted to count us out, and we were still in the thick of it. So Kansas City reestablished some things as one of the dominant teams in the NFL. You got some of your usual suspects. Although they haven't looked great, the Eagles are still up there. You got the Bills still doing things, and then you got some new cats on the block. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who when I watched play, they look like the most complete team in the NFL. Baker Mayfield is playing out of his mind. They still seem to have the same defense they had when Tom was there, which is pretty cool. And some of the same faces, some of the same receivers. And Baker Mayfield is really operating at a high level, not only with his swagger and his intensity on the field, but with his smarts. It's been really something cool to watch. Baker is quarterbacking, and I love to see that in the NFL. We need more of it. And we're also seeing some of the usual suspects that are usually at the top of the league kind of starting to fall off. The Baltimore Ravens is a big one. I guess a lot of people didn't see it coming, but this is why I say often you gotta seize the moment when you're there. The reason why Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes are now at the top of the conversations as the two GOATs at the position of quarterback is because when they got to the biggest stage, they sealed the deal. And I think for a team like Baltimore Ravens, you like to assume that you'll be there at the same high level, but football is the ultimate team sport, and nothing's guaranteed. So when you find yourself in the position that you can make a Super Bowl and you can contribute to a potential Super Bowl winning season, you got to seal the deal. Same thing goes for the Bills. I think the Bills need to win this year. The Bills got to win it this year. If they don't, who knows what that team will look like next year. It's all about seizing the opportunity when you have it. And so I think that's a great segue to what I want to talk about when I'm talking football on this sportscast, and that is about the resurgence, the comeback. Don't call it a comeback, but it's a comeback. The renewal of my New England Patriots. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Man, they are looking good. Drake May, he is improving. One thing I got to say about my New England Patriots, just every move this offseason has just been on point. From the Stephon Diggs signing to Coach Vrabel. Very sad that it didn't work with Mayo, but it was kind of obvious he just was not ready for that kind of position. Unlike Mayo, Coach Vrabel is a champion, and he understands what it takes. And this is a perfect opportunity for him, and it's showing. And it's absolutely showing. And as far as Drake May, now that was a hit. So glad we got him. For whatever shortcomings he had as far as not having enough starts under his belt, the dude's physical tools are off the chart. I mean, for me, what stands out the most is his accuracy. Not only can he bomb it, but he puts it on the money. Whether he's on the run, whether he's in the pocket, he's putting it on the money. And then the biggest thing I'm seeing with Drake May is his demeanor. His demeanor is everything you want out of your quarterback. Selfless, thoughtful, tough, and grounded. You know, he doesn't get ahead of himself, doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. And just goes on to the next play. Now you add that to bringing Josh McDaniels back on board, all those years of working with Brady and then having to break that all down to a reverse engineering where you're working with the savant of minds at the quarterback position to teaching a young buck. I think Josh McDaniels is proving that although he might not be a great head coach, he is a wonderful coordinator. And beyond that, he's a great teacher. And he really enjoys teaching. So all of that, put it in a pot, make it a sancocho, Patriots sancocho, and you're getting what you're getting, a 4-2 Patriots team that just off the win, the big win in Buffalo, follows it up with a big win with a scrappy and tough, usually in the mix, New Orleans Saints team, they're much better than they look. I like that young quarterback they got down there. Man, quarterback play is so important in this league. You know, I've heard now Tom talk about it. In fact, listen to Tom talk about it a little more about quarterback play and what he thinks where it's at in the NFL.
I don't believe the quarterback position is mentally as developed as it was when I entered the league 25 years ago. There was a premium on understanding defenses, on understanding matchups, on, I'd say, pre-snap reads, getting your team in and out of the right play. And I felt the way that I learned to play the position over a period of time will lead and will continue to lead. You'll give your team the best chance to win. To truly be a field general, like all the guys that we admired growing up, the John Elways, the Dan Marinos, the Joe Montanas. I think you better have a mental advantage on the field. And I think sometimes that's more important than the physical advantage. Now,
I couldn't agree with him more. I've kind of said this in my inner circles quite a bit, that the quarterback position has become much more reliant on physical tools. But that's dangerous because the quarterback is the most vulnerable position. You can get hurt quite easily. And the best ability any quarterback can have is availability. And then the second best is computing power. And I think Tom really brings up a good point about kids not staying in the same school and not having to go through the mental rigor of learning a playbook, learning a system, learning a language, understanding football not just as a physical sport, but as a mental sport, playing chess in football. Those kids aren't developing those skills. I think I agree with him that maybe the quarterbacks of his generation weren't necessarily as physically gifted as a generation, but they were being developed better and they had a mentality of a general that you're not seeing as much. I'm sure it'll start developing that way now that Tom and so many coaches are being outspoken about it. You'll start seeing quarterbacks kind of the pendulum swings. And it was all mental, all general type game. Now it's all physical. Can you run? Can you do this? It'll find a balance, and these guys will start realizing that you need to be a general on the field. Couldn't agree with Tom more with Tom. But most importantly, the Patriots are back. And honestly, I've been seeing some awesome stuff on the internet, but my favorite stuff that I've seen has come from Dave Portnoy because he's decided he's going to take on that annoying Boston fan but bring it to another level. And it's playing kind of different because everyone knows that probably the Patriots won't make it to the Super Bowl. They still got a long ways to go. But he's going all in on Drake May and the Pats, and that we're back, and I love it. Check it out.
I'm telling you, the dynasty is back on. The Bills had their chance. They blew it. I'm worried about Kansas City. Kansas City's never beaten us in the playoffs. This team is back. Drake May is a superstar. The Patriots dynasty. Get used to his face. You had a decade off without Patriot football. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Now we know the best part of the year is coming. Late October, football's in full swing, baseball's going on. Playoff baseball's pretty good. I don't watch season for shit, but I watch playoff baseball. I'll get into that in a second. And then basketball comes back. Basketball comes back. Let's go. I'm just so excited to do this episode right now. This is amazing. Basketball is back. Unfortunately, my team, the Celtics, don't look too great. I mean, they've been balling a little bit offensively in the preseason, but can't really count anything in preseason. We've had some major changes, and so the Celtics are kind of taking a backseat to a bunch of other great storylines in the NBA. Most importantly is the big shift for the NBA going back to NBC, Peacock, the revamping of ESPN, bringing in inside the NBA ESPN. All of that unfolding is going to be amazing to watch, and I'm going to be tuned in so that I can continue making these episodes and giving my thoughts on them. But I think the biggest part that has stood out to me of the start of the NBA season, I think there's been two storylines that really stood out. LeBron coming back for another season and even trying to do an advertisement kind of mocking the whole decision thing. And it was so incredibly cringe. Like, so incredibly cringe. This guy just, look, I don't want to hate on LeBron. He just makes himself so easily hateable. And obviously not as I don't mean it as a person. I mean what he represents, his legacy in the NBA, what he means as far as the GOAT conversation. Does he have self-awareness? Does he not have someone on his team being like, I don't know about this? Or is he so much caring about both his perceived legacy and as well as money that he'll just do anything? And it was no different with this whole stunt that he pulled about the second decision that led to people trying to buy tickets at a way higher price. There's this testimony from this dude who's suing LeBron for his ticket price because of what happened. Check it out.
LeBron's announcement wasn't about retirement. It was about a business venture.
Man, this is tough. In this fall, I'm going to be taking my talents to Hennessy VSOP.
He should know that fans are going to go spend their hard-earned money thinking that this is something meaningful. And for him to do something like that, he should know or should have known that this was going to happen.
Andrew filed a claim in small claims court, accusing LeBron of fraud, deception, and misrepresentation.
I'm only suing to recover what I paid. I want to make that very clear, which is $865.66 to a T. I'm not seeking any sort of emotional relief or any sort of additional relief beyond what I paid.
Crazy, right? Yeah, good for you, bro. Good for you for doing that. Because, dude, LeBron, what are you doing? What are you doing? That was literally the lowest moment of your career. Yeah, you went on to win championships. Not 5, not 6, not 7, but 2 with the Heat. And now you decide it's a good idea to use a liquor brand to kind of revamp this whole thing. I don't get it, LeBron. What were you thinking? Bruh, I couldn't watch that whole thing without cringing the whole time. Crazy. So we'll see. I think the GOAT conversation is over. LeBron at this point is just stat padding. I'm sure he'll announce when he's going to retire, make it a whole retirement tour because, hey, that's what LeBron does. Attention, attention, attention. But more excitedly, and apparently he's not starting the season, so that's something to watch. But more excitedly, we'll see how Luka turns in the season. He seems to be in great shape, and people are excited to see him play. So I'm excited for that. But most of all, I think what I'm most excited in the NBA season is to watch Cooper Flagg play. The number 1 pick for the Mavericks. Man, I honestly, if Cooper Flagg turns into what I think he'll turn into, I much rather have Cooper on my team than Luka. And I know that's an unpopular opinion, but I think Luka is what we call an offensive genius. But I think Cooper's demeanor, love for the game, intensity in he plays, and the fact that he plays both sides of the ball, and I think he's more of a seamless offensive player in the sense that he doesn't have to dominate the ball to make an impact. I think that with the fact that they have Kyrie, they have Anthony Davis, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference Finals, and man, would it be something to see them match up against the Lakers. That is what I'm rooting for. Lakers, Mavs, Western Conference Finals. Book it. I want to see it, at least in the playoffs, the matchup. That is what the season should culminate to. I got my money on the Mavericks already. As far as my Celtics, we'll see. We'll see what they can do. I think they'll be fun to watch. They'll be a fun team to watch. As a fan, ticket prices will be cheaper. And Jason Tatum, holy cow. You guys haven't seen these videos of the comeback? Check it out. Now, I don't want him to rush him back. He's looking good, and I'm happy for him. But hey, buddy, take your time. We're not going to win a championship this year. It's all good. It's all good. You're doing great. Just recover fully so that you can have not just next year, but the year after that and after that. Brad Stevens is going to surround you with a good team. And I'm just excited to see the Celtics do their thing, be a fun offensive team. Brad still was able to add some pieces. It was sad to let Porzingis go, but it is what it is. Even more sad to let Al Horford go, to see him go to one of our rivals in the Warriors. But I also like the Warriors. I'm a big Steph Curry fan. And I think Al's way of playing is a more grounded, stable version of Draymond Green. So to have them both, I'm sure, will make the Warriors interesting in the West. So it's going to be an amazing NBA season. From the Mavericks to the Warriors to the Lakers to what's going to happen with the Celtics. The East is up for grabs. Who's going to emerge there? People want to say the Knicks. We'll see. We'll see. I have my reservations. So I'll keep kind of making my way back into understanding everything that's happening in the league. But those are my general thoughts and excitement towards what's going to happen in the NBA. And we'll see. It's going to be an exciting season. Quickly, just wanted to address WNBA Finals just finished. Las Vegas Aces, third title in 4 years or 2 and 3, something like that. Good for them. Congratulations to the Aces. Asia Wilson is a beast. That buzzer beater was awesome. I wasn't watching live. I cast the highlights. I rarely watch the WNBA live. I did see, though, however, that their ratings were pretty good for the finals, so that's great. And I really hope that they continue to just find a way to embrace the changes. I think in many ways, WNBA has dropped the ball this year in the way they've chosen not to fully make Caitlin Clark the face of the WNBA, and how they didn't fully embrace her rookie season, thinking that somehow she'd be around forever. And look at her. She wound up injured this year. Who knows? That's why you have to seize the moment. That's why she should have been on the Olympic team, and they should have just went all in on making her the face, because it was just going to having a ripple effect. Even with all of the suppressing and the hate that the WNBA, from its players, from the management, from the referees, kind of try to bestow on Caitlin, it still had an impact. All of the other players are getting brand deals, getting commercials, chartered flights, better ticket sales, better viewership. I can only imagine what it would have been if they would have fully embraced Caitlin and her impact. We'll see where it goes. Caitlin is a very unique player, and she's a very special player, but there's no guarantee that she's going to go on to have this Michael Jordan-esque this LeBron-esque career. And so that's why I think you got to seize the opportunity when you have it, when you have those superstars come into your league and everybody loves them, embrace them, and make the most out of it, market around them, because then you have what wound up taking place, where you had at the end of the season players, including Minnesota Lynx former MVP and awesome ambassador for the game, what she had to say about the commissioner.
Fans see it every night. Coaches, both winning and losing, point it out every night in pregame and postgame media. Yet leadership just issues fines and looks the other way. They ignore the issues that everyone inside the game is begging to be fixed. That is negligence. At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. That's a mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us. The league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them.
Yeah, those are rough words, and later Caitlin kind of echoed them, and there's kind of no turning back. So it's going to be interesting to see now with the offseason what leadership changes happen in the WNBA and what kind of impact that has in bringing someone on board who's willing to embrace their Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan moment that they're having. And if hopefully it's not too late. I'm kind of the thinking that this moment might pass, but I think the floor has risen for the WNBA, and so they still have an opportunity. So those are my thoughts. Congratulations to the Aces. I'm not necessarily the most avid WNBA fan. I know the faces, I know the names because I just love sports. But we'll see where they go from here. Lastly, I want to talk some baseball. We're right in the thick of the baseball season. We've had some super exciting first round matchups. That 15-inning Game 5 for the Seattle Mariners, winning on that awesome base hit. From the matchup between the Red Sox and the Yankees, which has just naturally got a lot of edge to them. The fact that a Massachusetts kid, like red-blooded Red Sox fan, winds up beating them with 13 strikeouts. That was pretty awesome to see. Playing for the Yankees, I mean, what inner turmoil that kid must have. I'm sure he's okay, counting all his money in the contract he's about to make. And now we moved on to second round, and I think my favorite sports story of the year when it comes to baseball is the emergence of Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as a household name. I was a more avid baseball fan as a young man, and I was a huge fan of his dad. As you can see, I'm Dominican, so I love all Dominican baseball players. I love the swagger they bring and the skill that they bring. They're just truly unique. But what I love the most about Vladimir's story is just, like, it's incredible to think that your dad is one of the most underappreciated, yet one of the best baseball players, best Dominican players, top 5 for sure, but best baseball players ever. I mean, his swing, the golf ball swing, the no gloves, just 400 home runs, just straight off plátano power, is unprecedented when it comes to a baseball player. And to think that his son is just as good or might be better, that's so cool. Those pictures of him on the field, the fact that they got drafted both in Canada, both play in Canada, I think it's just so storybook. And so I personally had some great connection to Toronto this year. I got to film there. I got to meet people there. Got to know some of the community there. And now to see their baseball team there, I'm rooting for them to go all the way. But between Shohei Ohtani and the LA Dodgers, the story of the Seattle Mariners and a catcher who's hit 60 home runs, and now Vlad Guerrero Jr. with that swagger. I mean, watch that at bat. Matter of fact, let's watch the at bat of Vlad Guerrero against the Yankees when he hit that home run, being broken down by some influencer. I think he did a great job.
I've seen a man or a farm an entire at bat like this. Game 2, Blue Jays Yankees 6 6th inning, Toronto already up 5-0, and Vlad Jr. steps to the plate with the bases loaded. And keep in mind when you're watching this that Guerrero absolutely hates the Yankees. Now watch how Bro basically aura farms this entire at bat. First pitch, way outside. Bro was taking that when it was halfway to the plate. Now he stares down the pitcher and starts doing a little dance towards him. Second pitch incoming. Low, another easy take. Now Bro is really dialed in. Now he gives him a little Steph Curry shimmy and nods at him because he knows it's 2-0 and he got him right where he wants him. Pitch number 3, fastball right down the plate. Now that's the pitch he's looking for, but he wanted to see it first so he can measure it up. Now he takes a deep breath, gives him one more shimmy, and the rest can only be explained on video. Take another look, he hits it, he stands there and admires it, and he gives him the bat flip as he watches it sail into the second deck. But wait, he's not done. He got to give the Yankees a little more as he rounds the bases. He points to the crowd, gets them fired up, then he slows down in between second and third to remind everyone, this is my shit and I own the Yankees. And then he comes in and touches home plate and does a Superman handshake with his teammate. And then finally, for the icing on the cake, he puts on the postseason home run jacket before he goes out and takes his curtain call to the crowd for one of the greatest aura farm at bats we've ever seen.
Crazy, right? I mean, that is high level baseball. He was in that pitcher's head the whole time, and I just love what he brings. He has a great humility about him without sacrificing his personality. It seems like he took on to the not only the skill that his father had, but the love for the game, the reverence for the game. And I always respect that in athletes when they revere the position that they're in. They know how rare it is, and they make the most out of it. It's amazing to see. So I'm going to be tuned into the NBA, to the MLB playoffs. The NBA started this season. My Patriots getting it back together. So freaking hyped for this. And I'll be trying to drop some more episodes more frequently here. I'm back, baby. I'm back. And I appreciate anybody who tuned in. This was another episode of the Back to the Game Sportscast. I'm your boy, Samuel Maria. I'll see you on the next one.